Alright, I'm gonna check out this movie called Orion in the Dark. So basically, you got this kid in school named Orion. This guy's scared of everything. He's scared to talk to this chick named Sally. He's scared of bathrooms flooded up. He's scared of the ocean. Bottom line, he's scared of everything. The biggest thing he's scared of, though, is the dark. So there's one point he can't go to sleep. He's always up screaming or whatever like that. And then all of a sudden, the actual dark comes to him. Like in the form of an entity, but he actually starts talking to him. And he actually wants to show him things about the dark so he won't be afraid anymore. So then he gets in to meet all his helpers. One's by name Sweet Dreams, Quiet, Noises, Insomnia. And they think this kid is always causing problems because he can't sleep. The funny thing about it, some of them do the opposite jobs. Sweet Dreams makes sure people get pleasant dreams. Sleepy is the one that puts them to sleep regardless of what they're doing. But then you got Insomnia that plays tapes or whatever like that and tries to wake people up. And Noises does the same thing so it can scare people. Now Quiet is actually like sucking up the noise and making sure everything's quiet. I'm baffled by half of their job descriptions, but that's what they do. At first, Orion starts fucking up or whatever like that, but then, he's able to, actually help them out in their situations. Well, he's giving help or I don't know. So Dark basically convinced the rest of the crew he could stay with him for like 24 hours. And then Orion and Dark become friends. So basically, he might be scared of everything else, but he's not scared of him anymore, so there you go. Now, I think it's his class is supposed to go on this field trip or whatever like that, but he's scared to go on the field trip because he's scared to sit next to Sally. And he thinks all these things are going to happen on the field trip. Like, what if we're on a bus and then the bus loses its wheels and crashes all over? I'm like, he's got a very, ridiculous pattern of thinking. Did you realize as he's telling this story, he's actually telling it as an older person, telling it to his daughter, Hypatia. And she likes to do poems and stuff, too. Like, honestly, for a kid's movie, it's very highly sophisticated. So Sweet Dreams is doing her job with this one lady or whatever like that. She's thinking to herself that she's going to get a performance, raise and all this other stuff, right? And her daughter wants to get this cat or whatever like that. And the cat pops out of nowhere and says, after she's done her performance, she's like, that's one hell of a performance. I was like, wait a minute, this is a kid's movie. Did he just say that? Yeah, the dream was weird. The thing that Orion is really scared of is his fucking closet. I'm telling you, it's hilarious. So who does Dark always have beef with? The light. So Orion was talking to the other entities and by accident convinced them that the light has a lot of things to offer. Like different colors and things of that nature, right? So Dark is like, what the fuck, dude? So now he's got to try to apologize and convince them that Dark is the way to go. But they're really convinced about the light and they're curious about it now. So now they're basically going to leave Dark and then try to do their entities and sleep work stuff in the light. So Dark is feeling depressed and then Orion ends up going with them. And by the way, they fly around through the night doing stuff. So he's like flying on his back. Then they fly up into the clouds or whatever like that. And it happens to be in a position where the light is about to come because it's about to be morning. But Dark don't give a fuck no more. He's just going to sit up there and wait for the light to come so he can just disappear. I'm like, really? And then he just disintegrates. And the whole time Orion's standing there, we realize he's standing on a flying turtle. And that's pretty much the story so far. We're like, what? So Orion is telling his daughter Hypatia, I don't even know what to do with the rest of the story. So therefore, he's going to let her finish the rest of the story. I'm like, what? He's supposed to be telling her a bedtime story. So both of them actually went outside and went for a walk. And then I realized some people was talking to Japan. I was like, oh, they're in Japan. And they're crossing the walkway. And I'm thinking to myself, are they in Tokyo? So all of a sudden, Hypatia just jumps in his dream, to a young Orion. I'm like, what? It's like, who are you? Like, I'm your daughter. He's like, what the fuck? How'd you get here? So the entities are doing stuff in the light, and they're not really as impressed as what they thought it would be or whatever like that. So now they're feeling bad about leaving Dark in the dark. So now Hypatia's got this idea about putting Orion to sleep so that way he could dream up and find the dark and bring him back to the dark. I don't know. So now he's basically in his dream, but his dream is him sleeping back at his house or whatever like that. And then he ends up finding the dark, and then all of a sudden the closet opens up and it's got like a dimensional portal and it's about to get sucked into it. And Sweet Dreams keeps telling him like, hey, if you die in your sleep, you die for real. So it gets to the point where Hypatia is trying to help him out inside of his dream or whatever like that. They almost get sucked into the closet. And right when he's about to get sucked into this eternal black hole or whatever like that, Insomnia does everything he can to try to wake him up. And then Quiet somehow wakes him up talking about, if you don't wake up, you're going to miss the field trip. And that's when he woke up. And then the darkness was back and everybody's happy, hunky-dory. So they get back to his house. And then I'm thinking to myself, all right, he's about to wake his parents up out of a dream, whatever like that. But then the parent sees Hypatia. And I'm thinking to myself, what? What's he going to tell him that's his future daughter? I'm like, yo, this dude is like 10 years old at the time. And you have a daughter. It's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I misspoke. She did say something about living in Manhattan. And I was like, oh, so it wasn't Japan, it was New York, which I thought at first, that's what I thought, but yeah, okay. So anyway, she got to find a way to get back home to New York, but I'm thinking to myself, like, she's in his dream or something, I don't know. And then This dude named Tycoon comes out of nowhere. He's like, yeah, I got a time traveling machine. We got to get back there so you get back to your time. I'm like, what? But we got to fight off the sleep paralysis demons or whatever like that. Then they cook them niggas and then get to the time machine. So then Tycoon gets Hypatia back to the time so he could get to, father Orion. Then we find out that was a dream within a dream because Hypatia, saying now she's like 40 and she's talking to her son who was Tycoon. So I was like, okay. Then she goes on the porch to look at the stars and we're looking at an old man Orion now. So you're thinking to yourself, Orion had a kid, right? So who do you have a kid with? Was it Sally? Yes, it was. So then you see Sally sitting next to him, gives him a hug or whatever like that. And the last scene of the movie is when they were kids, they went to the planetarium and he was sitting right next to Sally. There you go. So I was thinking about the metaphors in this movie. I'm thinking to myself, okay, Orion's belt, Hypatia, one of the Greek gods. I was trying to figure out all the tie-ins. I got confused myself at that point. I can't believe they said hell in a PG movie. That was crazy. And then I was thinking to myself, is this actually a kid's movie? They were very sophisticated in their verbiage, you know what I'm saying? I don't think younger kids would have caught on to the complexities of their language. They actually seem smarter than most people in this dumbed down universe. But anyway, Orion in the Dark on Netflix. Check it out.